Something is about to go horribly wrong. The zombies are coming, and they'll devour every single living person until the entire planet is infected with the virus. Unless, that is, you can save us all. In a bunker deep underground, a scientist has actually found the antivirus, but the experiments didn't go exactly as planned. And this is where you enter the story. You have to start the power generator, you have to clear all the safety locks, and you have to release the antivirus in order to save mankind. In just 1 hour. Because that's when the power generator will stop for good. Questerland's Zombie Apocalypse 2213 is an impressive horror sci-fi mashup, looking and feeling very much like the final area in a Resident Evil game. It's intense, claustrophobic and deeply immersive. But what's even better, there's a proper storyline to follow inside the room too, and a string of diverse and collaborative puzzles to match. At the very start, Zombie Apocalypse 2213 separates the players in 2 units. You find yourselves in stifling, near-dark rooms and can only communicate through a small hatch in a huge steel door. It looks like you are inside an industrial and futuristic bunker. Sounds of screaming victims and rattling noises from zombies fill up the small room as you try to communicate and cooperate to get the reactor powered up and opening the door to the laboratory itself. It's as scary as it's intense, and it's all very immersive. Once you venture further into the game, the feeling that you stand right inside a set from the Resident Evil franchise starts to sink in. The dirty and worn down laboratory looks like it could easily belong to the evil Umbrella Corporation. There are clear visual and of course also thematic similarities. The whole bunker is powered by what looks like a huge blue crystal from outer space, and then you have to find the antidote to the zombie virus. But Zombie Apocalypse 2213 never becomes just a simple rip-off of another franchise. For instance, you have to conduct your own experiments through the puzzles on a zombie body that lies in a glass case. The zombie is obviously chained to the table in case it should sense that you lurk around it. The entire laboratory set is deeply immersive, mainly due to the sound design which works flawlessly, but also due to the lighting effects that are integrated with the puzzles. It all comes together in a perfect balance with the chronological storyline in the room. There are even TV screens which let the scientist talk to you, the scientist who has, by the way, mysteriously locked himself up at the very start of the game. And even though the initial TV clips are amateurishly put together from various looped film clips, and even though his heavy accent is nearly impossible to understand and doesn't fit the film clips at all, still, the scientist's story is as much a part of the game and as immersive as your story. The puzzles in Zombie Apocalypse 2213 are diverse, and because the room is structured around a proper story, there is also a natural progression in the puzzles. In this way, the escape room is sort of beginner-friendly. For instance, inside the lab, you move from one challenge to the next, and it's easy to maintain a sense of overview. But due to the variation in the puzzle design and the constant story flow, it never gets boring. One string of puzzles actually involve you experimenting with the zombie body. You have to work with magnets, injection needles, microscopes and fingerprint scanners. So it's easy to see how the set design and the puzzles work perfectly to move the story along. Furthermore, you have to work together to solve many of the puzzles, most notably in the beginning where you're locked up in different locations. Because you can only communicate and see each other through a very small hole in the huge steel door, it naturally creates a different kind of tension than in the rest of the game. Since everything is planned so smoothly, it's a little annoying that there are mechanical problems in the room. We encountered various objects that simply didn't work the way they were supposed to. Different buttons seemed to be slightly damaged, which made it look like we were doing something wrong with a device or a door. Furthermore, various puzzles in the room require you to be extremely alert. If you miss a particular sound cue or don't quite understand what is communicated through the TV screen, you'll be lost for good. However, since we made it out in time, these are really very minor flaws in an overall impressive game. If Zombie Apocalypse 2213 was a perfect gaming experience for us, the Game Master clearly took the overall impression down a notch or two. Not at all because of herself, her hints, or her behaviour, she was really nice, but simply because Questerland was understaffed. The poor young girl who acted as our Game Master also had to be the Game Master for the 2 other complex games at the company. She was also the hostess of the entire business, meaning that she had to greet people when they arrived, talk to them about the setup to the various games, start the games, run the games and provide hints, and once the games were finished she had to greet the players when they came out, take their picture, receive payment and say goodbye to everybody. All with a smile, and then she would also have to rush in and clean up the whole mess of all 3 escape rooms as well. No, the Game Master certainly did what she could, so this is a criticism of the overall business strategy. It's even more ironic that it's more expensive to play Questerland's game rooms in the evenings, where they are clearly understaffed, than during the daytime, when the service is excellent. What was also frustrating was the intercom system, which we used to communicate with the Game Master and receive hints. It was out of order, pure and simple. We couldn't understand a word of what the Game Master was saying because the line was so terribly static. Everything came out literally sounding like the voice of Kenny in South Park. Without a doubt, this deadly combo of a Game Master who's not there, and when she's actually there you can't hear what she's saying, that combo was the #1 problem with Zombie Apocalypse 2213, if not in fact the only problem. If you love horror and zombies and Resident Evil, and frankly who doesn't, this is the room for you. It's not just a game consisting of a good bunch of diverse puzzles, there's also a story in the gameplay, and the whole set design is just gorgeous and frightening. But be sure to come during the daytime hours for the full experience. In that case, Zombie Apocalypse 2213 is highly recommended.